What's up, humans? What's up, familia? Welcome to a new Psicoactivo. So I'm back from LA. I dropped my mom and my brother. Everything's okay. They will be arriving later today, but it's going to be a Thursday for them because of the time difference. But everything went out smoothly. While I was away, a lot of things happened. But one of the most important, if not the most important, is that David Grusch finally decided to speak after being added to Representative Burlison's team. Before I continue, I'm just going to ask you to like, subscribe, share, comment. David Grusch spoke to Joe Khalil, and I'm going to show you what he said. And let's analyze who reacted to this, because somebody did. And it was kind of a funny thing. I guess you already saw it in the thumbnail. Joe Khalil says, new statement from UAP whistleblower David Grusch on Representative Eric Burlison hiring him to be on the staff. And he says, I'm both immensely humbled and deeply honored to join Congressman Burlison and his amazing team of professionals in pushing for government transparency. The public is rightfully demanding to know the truth, and it is my true privilege for me to serve the people of this country once again. I will use all my expertise to support Representative Burlison and help the U.S. Congress restore full oversight while enabling the legislative branch's ability to investigate and hold those accountable who have broken the law and lied not only to our Congress, but also to the Executive Office of the President, Director of National Intelligence, and the Department of Justice.
Congressman?
Yeah.
You made some headlines with the hire of David Grusch.
Yeah.
Why'd you do it? Why'd you feel the need to do it?
I think that just it's frustrating to me that we can't continue to just not really get any further. And so one of the things that was highlighted to me really is that, or obvious to me, is that we don't have somebody that's an expert in this field helping us navigate the intelligence community, navigate these, because the thing is, you don't know which questions to ask, right? And so how do you even determine where to go if you don't even have the first clue?
So how did the idea come about? Oh, well, Grusch says he knows some things. Let's bring him in.
Yeah. Well, first, just meeting him and having him come in for the first hearing, that was really, I thought that he was a very credible witness. Okay. And while I may not, I'm a skeptic. I may not agree that these are aliens from another planet. Okay. But I certainly do not doubt or discount his reputation. He is highly credible, highly respected, and he certainly was in the right roles. And so I think he was his credentials are amazing. Right. And just having him as an asset to be able to help us navigate and plan and coordinate what steps, where to go from here is really what I wanted to get accomplished.
So he's going to be is currently working for you, or will be?
April 1.
April 1, okay. So what are the things that he can do then that you can't necessarily believe that you could do right now?
Yeah, one is that, it's the amount of time. So getting him committed and on where he's able to provide counsel to me. He's putting together a plan that we'll be able to execute and then work alongside, really through my office, work to try to get some more information out through the committee staff and other things. But at the end of the day, he's working for my staff, and so that has to be kind of the parameters. He can't work for the committee. He's working for me.
So he's now going to be working for you. Obviously, one of the different dynamics here is this whole, the questions and the investigations and the hearings and all that started in the Biden administration, right? President Biden, the defense secretary was Lloyd Austin. It's obviously a much different time right now. Pete Hegseth is the defense secretary over at the Pentagon. Have you talked to the secretary about this? The Aero office is over there at the Pentagon. Have you talked to him yet about this? What about now in the new administration?
Well, I don't have a direct line with Pete. I'm going to try to get that connection.
But you see where I'm going, right?
Because what is good about Grusch is he does have direct connections with a lot of these individuals. And so he's got connections with Tulsi and a lot of other individuals that I think would be very valuable.
What about it now with President Trump in the White House? How does this change?
He's a disclosure president. He has clearly demonstrated that he wants to be transparent. He's already released more of the JFK files than anyone else has, and he's really pushing to release more, trying to release the Epstein list, trying to release the information that the American people deserve to know about UAPs.
So let me leave you with this. Do you think now that David Grusch is soon going to be on your staff here in a few days, that eventually, whether it be a few weeks, a few months, whatever it is, that there's going to be an aha moment? See, this is something we didn't know about. Do you think that's coming?
I do think that we're going to find out some more information. The question is, will we get to that point where it's definitive that this is, we determine what it is? That I can't answer for you.
And when you approached Grusch on this, what was his response?
He was very open to the idea. He really just wants to serve his country. If you look at his background, he's somebody that just loves this nation and wants to has a servant heart.
All right, we'll leave it there. Congressman Burlison, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Okay, so we got Grusch now coming out and basically talking about his game plan of what he's going to be doing. I already told you guys, if he gets back his clearance, things are going to be way easier for him. But also, I do think that David Grusch seems determined to do something. And we know that he's been busy behind the scenes with Ross Coulthart and Jake Barber. Jake Barber is the Skywatcher Air Force veteran who came out recently in January telling Ross Coulthart and the world that he's a first-hand crash retrieval specialist and that he did that. You guys know the story. But another proof that they know each other is Jake Barber himself, who retweeted this. And it's simple, short and sweet. This is what he said. Let our boy cook. I mean, that's pretty much all needed, right? We do know that whatever they're doing behind the scenes, they're doing it in coordination. We know that. So I don't know if Grusch is going to help Jake Barber eventually try to get to Congress and testify under oath himself. But what we want is the evidence. With David Grusch coming in to do this, and now officially just presenting himself to the public and talking about his plans, I wonder who's going to be able to help him. And whoever does, what's the status going to be like? I wonder if, given that they are clearly working together on some capacity, I wonder if Jake Barber is going to help Grusch with some of this stuff in there. I would say so. But something that I wanted to talk about recently has to do with all of this that's happening, right? Because there seems to be like this, I don't know if it's from the government or from people within the UFO-tainment arena, you could call it, that we've heard stories forever, right? For decades now. And when that old guard was taken over, this part of the government is like seemingly, in my view, trying to understand what this is, but trying to stay away from any type of lore that has pre-existed, So far, the majority of the people from the government have done that, and they've been good at it. They've been vague because I sustain that we still haven't figured out what we're dealing with. And I think that talking about, reptilians and like other races of extraterrestrials and all that stuff, I think that's one of the reasons that this topic has been lacking a lot of credibility and a lot of nuance, because it's either or, right? But I think that we should like go straight to what's actually happening within the phenomenon, because there is phenomena taking place, but there's a bunch of other stuff that is also always in your face, in your screen, that is not true. That is just planted there. So what's actually, I think, happening, or as far as I've been able to tell, is that whatever phenomenon with the orbs, that is happening to a lot of people worldwide. That's one. People seem to go outside, and some of them have made it like more of a tradition now because it comes easy to them. They go outside, they think about seeing an orb or talking to something, and that orb shows up. Whether it's far or a little bit closer, it's not always too close. At least I haven't seen a video that is too close. Mr. Chris Bledsoe is supposed to have some of those. I hope we can see them soon. That's one. The other one is near death experiences are something really weird that happened to me, and that I don't know if it's related to this, but it is really strange and really interesting to investigate, in my opinion, because that's also a phenomenon that happens all around the world and has always happened. The other one is the abduction phenomenon, which there's still a lot of debate on whether it just happened in people's subconscious, or it actually happened physically or in some other plane. It's very fuzzy, but the details are very similar. These gray beings, some of them even include intimacy. So yeah, and it's a lot. There's like a case in, I don't know if it's Brazil or Portugal, that is very famous. There's Whitley Strieber, that he also had intimacy, allegedly. So that is being talked about and has been talked about for a long time. What else? The Nazca mummies, or the Nazca desiccated corpses. That's a real, like, physical thing that is evidence that there's a bunch of people already studying it in Latin America and in Spain and other countries too. The U.S. is still lacking, at least in an official capacity, but people who have channels in English, they're really doing a lot of work that is very valuable, I think. Whether they're living in other countries but still doing it in English, that's also reachable to the American audience. So, but nobody's like looking at them in an official capacity and in front of the spotlight. Nobody is. Hopefully, that will change soon, because things are progressing pretty rapidly surrounding the beings. So that's another one. What else? You see my point? There isn't, like, in terms of like actual evidence or proof or credible testimony, there still hasn't been any that flat out says I have footage of a like close up craft, or I have biologics in my possession, or I have seen like a reptilian being, or like other types of beings. There's, or I've spoken to an alien that comes from so and so planet. There's still no evidence of that specifically. All I know, me personally, and that's the only proof I have of something, is that apparently some level of psi abilities exists. Some people, it happens to them involuntarily, and some people control it better than others. I say that with absolute certainty because I've experienced something like that. I still don't know exactly what it was, but I heard somebody else's voice in my head, and that person heard my voice in their head, and we couldn't believe it was happening. That happened to me. So I do have experience experiencer evidence that that is real. But actual proof that all of the claims from David Grusch are actually real, we still haven't gotten any. And I'm sure he wants to provide it. So I'm glad that like they seem united, and he seems determined, and he seems enthusiastic about it. That's great. I hope it persists, and I hope that we can get some answers finally, some subpoena power for some of the hostile witnesses. Grush knows everyone now. He said so. He knows every name. He knows every company. He said so himself. So now that he's there, let's get to it. Yeah. Okay. And how do you think Jake Barber is going to support Grush in this new endeavor? I'm sure he will in some capacity. So what do you think? Let me know in the comments. What do you think about David Grush's statement? Let me know. And that's it for me on this video, but I'll see you guys in the next one. And remember, Stay curious. Stay inquisitive. Bye-bye.